Well, hello everyone. First of all, thank you to Anne-Catherine and Anneke and the whole PAF staff for giving me the chance to share with you my experience today. I know we have a pretty sharp and short agenda, so I will try to resume to summarize the following points. I will present myself, explain to you why I decided to apply for the Prince Albert Fund, explain to you the project I was assigned to and what changes did it make to my professional and personal life. So, my name is Emily. Before applying for the PAF, I worked as export manager for Belvas, a great company producing and distributing Belgian pralines, chocolate, selling it to Belgium, but also abroad, as it exports 90% of its production. I really enjoyed my experience, the first contact that I had with international business, and felt it was the right moment for me to apply the knowledge acquired so far to a new environment, this time based internationally. So I applied for the Prince Albert Fund in March 2018 with a deep desire to kickstart my career. Sorry, I have a little, so with a deep desire to kickstart my career, to take the plunge. And after selected, it's true that it takes a lot of time to find the right company, the right project. So I met different Belgian companies, and I finally got in contact with Puratus. I don't know if you know this company. It's a Belgian company producing and distributing ingredients for bakery, patisserie, and chocolate finished goods. So I guess some of you might imagine it from the picture. Where did the project lead me? I'm based now today in Santiago de Chile, where I still work in a local contract. So what was the mission? My main objective here was to develop the chocolate business in Chile for both real and compound chocolate and increase its brand awareness through 4 kinds of initiatives. In the framework of this presentation, I will focus on the first one, the benchmark of the real Belgian chocolates. So what was the situation when I arrived? I could see that Belcola, the real Belgian chocolate brand, has been established for more than 25 years as the only key player providing chocolate in South America. But with the years, we faced big competition, and the company was feeling they were losing market share. So that really was the core of my mission, analyzing the strategic positioning in Chile, making a quantitative analysis through sales data analytics, market share vs competition, pricing, through a qualitative analysis, customer interviews, surveys, visits on the field. And this benchmark has led me to a concrete action plan with its core line, maintaining and consolidating the client portfolio by launching initiatives, being in trend with the markets, and launching all this kind of initiative that I've tried to summarize in one slide. So I know they are quite diverse, but I've shown this so you can get an idea of the different initiatives that I've launched in the country. So here you can find product launches that are directly linked to the trends in today's food industry, such as health and well-being, sustainable chocolate, or indulgent in patisserie. Organizing chocolate classes from north to south of Chile with B2B clients. Organizing trips to plantations in Mexico, where we have our post-harvest center, to really explain the whole process of making chocolates, the traceability from the bean to the bar. PR events where we present our Cacao Trace program, aiming to create value and sharing this value with the farmers. And POS material that was really needed to be implemented in the wholesalers to increase the awareness of the Belgian chocolate brand here in Chile and in South America. So how did it go? What are the results? We are quite happy because we faced a 12% increase in volume and in value from 2018 to 2019. In the graph here below, you can see all the sales channels where we are present, and the biggest one, the industry chocolates, and the chocolatier channel faced an increase of 37 and 21% in a year. The other channels, just we can see here, Oreca supermarket distributor faced an average increase of 10%. So we are really happy with this results, as it's increased both in value and in volume. That shows a great organic growth for the company figures. As a matter of conclusion, I'm happy to have involved in an entrepreneurial context. It's true that the first months, the first weeks weren't easy. We're dedicated to adapting to a new language, to a company culture, getting to understand the responsibilities and function of my direct colleagues, establishing the different milestones of the project. But I've rapidly been involved in the operational and strategic aspect of my function, which is important, I think. 1 year can seem a lot, but it's not. You really rapidly have to get to grips, get ownership of your project to be efficient and see results. So when I look back at this 1 year, I feel I've gained a lot of sense of leadership, decision-making abilities, as I've been the leader for 4 projects from A to Z. And I've deepened my result-driven approach as, yes, I've been able to involve in this entrepreneurial company that's Piratas Chile. So I hope I was clear. Feel free to ask me your questions after this meeting, maybe in the session we will have. And I will now give the word to Laura that will explain to you her project at Amobi. Laura, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing my screen. Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks, Emily. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys. Can someone confirm that you can see it?
Yes, we can, Laura.
All right,
Thanks.
perfect. So yeah, I'm Laura. I'm calling in from New York. Before I jump into the presentation, just want to apologize in advance for those of you who know the city, know that it's a pretty loud city. So if you hear any dramatic fire trucks or police cars in the background, sorry for that. So before I jump into the PAF project, let me first share a little bit about myself and what I did before having the PAF. I graduated in languages and communication, combined that with a master in management at Antwerp Management School. My first job was at Deleuze in Belgium in communications. I then did a gap year in Asia and Australia, and I came back from that, did a short role at Antwerp Management School in business development. And while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, I actually ran into PAF by coincidence. PAF was perfect for me at the time because I knew I wanted to work abroad again. I also knew I wanted to do a career shift because I'd worked in communications before, a little bit of business development, and I knew I wanted to do more of that, but I also knew that my background wasn't really in that. So PAF really seemed perfect for it. And it was completely out of my comfort zone. So once I got the PAF, I started by creating some selection criteria for my PAF project because, as Anne-Catherine explained, once you get PAF, you still need to find a project that's suitable for you, and really the options are endless. So what was important for me was that I could work for a company and really start from scratch in a new country. I really wanted to go as much out of my comfort zone as possible, and so this was really a way for me to do that. A second aspect was that I wanted to have a product that speaks to me. And then finally, I wanted to make sure that, of course, I had a connection with the company and that I would have remote support, because if you're setting up a company abroad, it's really important that you do have the remote support in Belgium. And so those 3 criteria actually brought me to Amobi. So Amobi is a startup that's located just outside of Brussels. We work with retailers and FMCG companies, and we help them optimize their store or category by sharing insights on how people behave inside the store. Amobi was actually located in Belgium and in the UK, but wanted to expand to North America, and that's really what they hired me for. So in September 2018, I moved to New York to open up their office here. And I did a lot of things. So I sort of split it up here. My first 6 months were fully dedicated to getting to know the market, getting to see whether the potential that they thought the market had, whether that was actually true. And I did that by trying to book as many meetings as possible with potential clients, so retailers, FMCG companies, And then after those 6 months, I came up with a strategy proposal that I presented to our board of directors. After those 6 months, I also closed my first deals. And for me, that was really the highlight of my project. I was able to close a deal with Walmart, CVS, a couple of other players here. And that for us was really the sign that the North American market was going to work and that we had to set up our official company here. So that's what I did. I started doing account management, project management, and that's really what I did towards the end of my project as well, because when we sell a project, there's also a lot of analysis and consulting going on. So I was closely involved in that, and then also creating the strategy for the next few years. In terms of learning curve, I think the PAF and my PAF project was really an incredible learning curve. I learned so many new things, you know, pitching to C-level executives, wearing a lot of different hats, doing market research first, then developing a strategy, helping with pricing, doing the project management, the consulting, and so on. And so I would say for me, 1 year, what I learned in 1 year is what I think I would have only learned in 2 to 3 years in my other job. So it's very dense, that 1 year with PAF. So that's it professionally, but personally, it definitely doesn't disappoint because you get to learn, get to know so many new people. You really open up your mind. And I'm pretty sure also that without PAF, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to land a job, which I did after my PAF year. So I'm currently still working for Amubi. And Amubi's experience with PAF was so positive that we actually hired another candidate. So we're now 2 PAF people here in New York. So that's very exciting. And we even submitted a project this year as well. Maybe just to finish off, I also want to share 2 challenges that I had, because while it's amazing and it's really great, of course, it's not always easy. Definitely if you start on your own abroad. And for me, really the fact that everything was the opposite of what I was used to in my job. Like I wanted out of my comfort zone, but it can be very much out of your comfort zone. So you have to get through that. But once you do get through it, you always realize that it was worth it and that you learned so much. And the second one that I think is important, and Anne-Catherine briefly mentioned it, is make sure if you are in a long distance relationship that you discuss this upfront, because I think that for me was a challenge as well. My boyfriend was in Belgium when I left, and we didn't really discuss like PAF and how we were going to do it when I was applying for it. And I think in hindsight, it's probably important that you already have a discussion about it, even if you're not sure yet whether you're going to get it, but that you already sort of discussed how you're going to do that and how that's going to work out. So I think that's it for me. Just the last slides to really recommend it. I think it's a great opportunity. If you're doubting, just go for it. You won't regret it.
Thanks a lot, Laura.